fits you, and eventually come across the 75 corridor as well. Now let's go a little farther north. A couple more severe thunderstorms in Crawford, Sebastian, Sequoyah County. That is getting into Fort Smith. We've got a little line segment here. And again, the threat along with that is going to be primarily damaging wind. You notice how these storms are putting out some cool air. You see the little boundary that drops down right there. A little bit of cool air riding southward. And so that's a little boundary that's being created. And that's going to be the focal point for new development of thunderstorms going through the night tonight. Right along the leading edge of that cool air. That's where we're going to find more development. But this is more of a linear convective system. So it's the supercells that tend to produce these tornadoes that we saw earlier today. With a linear system, you've got more of a wind threat than anything else, but you certainly can get some hail and very heavy rain. Lightning, of course, will be a threat too. And this is going to make its way into Greenwood by 10:33, Ozark at 10:48, and 10:58 is going to be getting over into Boonville. Now let's take you a little farther north, show you what's going on here around Cape Girardeau. Still a severe thunderstorm warning for you. We watched another one of these sort of backward C-shape features. That's that little bow, little mini bow coming through Cape Girardeau with some very strong wind there. We were looking at the Doppler radar a moment ago and seeing some wind getting up to about 50 miles per hour up a few thousand feet in the atmosphere. So that's certainly possible as that moves through. And then behind that, you see this tremendous area of what we call stratiform precipitation. So there's this huge area of rain that is following these thunderstorms. Now driving up here into parts of Illinois and also into Missouri. It's going to be really coming down there for a while, and that's why you've got these flash flood warnings. Flash flood warning off to the west of Cape Girardeau, just north of Poplar Bluff. More of those extending back towards Branson, Missouri. So that too a big part of the threat tonight. There's the thunderstorm forecast. Severe weather primarily in the form of wind and hail tonight, along with very heavy rain. And then those thunderstorms may linger into tomorrow morning, getting more towards southeastern Arkansas, parts of Texas. And then tomorrow we've got a more general area of thunderstorms, but then within that there could be some stronger storms in the mid-Atlantic region, in particular Maryland, Virginia, eastern North Carolina. That's sort of a favored area for possible wind as some stronger winds come up from the south there in the lower levels of the atmosphere. So that's what we're looking at tonight, Julie. The threat definitely coming down, not nearly what we saw earlier today, but a very scary day today, and we jumped right back into severe season after having a couple of really quiet months.
We sure did, yeah. And boy, we made up for it today in places like central Oklahoma, where as many as 149 severe weather reports, 5 preliminary tornadoes. That number could grow quite higher. More public schools, by the way, out tomorrow. No school there, and we are looking at as many as 80,000 customers without power in Oklahoma this evening as a result of this line of storms that tore through earlier this evening. One person dead in Sand Springs, that's west of Tulsa, and we are seeing video of widespread damage in Moore, Oklahoma as well. Let's show you some of the newest video we have received. This of a radio tower literally snapped in half here in Moore, Oklahoma. This is the first we have seen of this video, but certainly indicating the strength of this possible tornado coming through Moore earlier this evening. Now, we also spoke with Jazz Bishop. He's a storm chaser who rode out the storm in Moore. His video quite incredible. In fact, he was telling us that this is the same area that was hit so hard back in 2013, the very same area. It looks like this tornado crisscrossed over these very same neighborhoods. And we have seen entire roofs here in his video lifted off of brick homes, indicating damage. We were talking about anywhere from, say, EF2 to possibly a low-end EF3. Might be pushing it a little bit, but
you know what we're seeing here, we're seeing roofs that are partially damaged, but then there were some cases where the roof was completely removed. So that's when you're getting into that, yes, that high EF2 category there. Now, fortunately, this wasn't a very long-lasting tornado. It lasted for 11 minutes between 6:35 and 6:46 p.m. and basically was on either side of I-35. But remarkable that it hit pretty much the same area. And in fact, it certainly does look familiar. You know, I remember looking at the video from Moore in 2013, and you see the exact same type of houses there. And this is just one of those spots. There's a little tornado alley there. Oklahoma, of course, is one of the most tornado-prone parts of the entire country and in fact the entire world. But then even within that, there are tornado alleys, and one of those alleys exists there on the south side of Oklahoma City. We've gotten hit by a couple of really mean tornadoes in 2013 and 1999, but those aren't the only ones. There were a bunch between then and then a bunch before them, and now this latest one that hit tonight.
And it kind of makes you wonder, are people there desensitized when it comes to tornadoes? We want to check in with reporter Kristen Shanahan from KFOR. She spoke with residents in that area right after the storm rolled through.
I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a tree over here just flipped over in the yard and busted out windshields, just debris all over the place, trees, pieces of roofs. And actually there's a lot of people out here cleaning up still. Two of those is Shiloh and Leslie here. We've been talking with them. Now, you weren't over here at the time, but your mother lives here.
Right. My mom and dad live here, my little brother.
What did they say?
They were going to go next door to the storm shelter over there. They couldn't make it, so they went ahead and just jumped in a closet and hoped for the best.
Now, you actually were in this tornado, too, but you live, what, a couple blocks away from here?
19th and Eastern, yeah. So we didn't realize that our neighborhood had been hit at the time. As soon as we left to come over here, we had seen the damage, fences gone, stop signs blown over. Absolutely. So whenever we go home tonight, we will see what our neighborhood looks like. My house, it's okay. I mean, a couple things moved, but I'll see the rest of my neighborhood this evening when I get home.
Now, what's some of the damage here that you've seen?
Well, there used to be a carport right here. The tree absolutely is gone. Shingles, I've got wood impaled in the top of the house. Fences, part of the fences are gone in the back. So, I mean, that's really the extent of it. The inside of the house is fine. Structural is fine. Busted windshield, that's pretty much all of it, though. It's not as bad as it could be.
Are you pretty shaken up, though?
No, I mean, I'm okay. I just hope my parents are okay. I know that my mom and brother are here, so I know they're shaking up pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, overall, everything's good.
What about what about you, Leslie? You said you were a little scared when this tornado went through.
Yeah, I've never been through a tornado. Where I'm from, Dewey, Oklahoma, they just don't really have them. So I heard the whistle and hearing all the stuff, and then seeing the aftermath was crazy and definitely had me shaking a little bit.
Now, where did you take cover?
We took cover in the closet of our house, kind of just randomly. We just decided to go in there.
And how long do you guys plan to stay out here tonight and clean up?
Until his parents are ready to come to our house and stay. So we'll be here quite a while, I think, which is good.
And no one hurt, no one injured that you know of?
No one that knows. I mean, no one.
Thank you both so much for talking to us and sharing your story. All right, well, back to you.
All right, and that's Kristen Shanahan from KFOR reporting there for us. We want to take you now to another area that was also hit very hard. The Sand Springs neighborhood west of Tulsa. And we are looking at what appears to be a fairly large cone-shaped tornado as our storm chasers were seeking shelter under this bridge.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about this tonight, Julie, and in general, it is not a good idea to try to seek shelter under a bridge. Now, in this case, he may have been looking to get away from the large hail. It seemed like the best place at the time. But one thing that we saw in recent years, many years ago, there was a video of people getting underneath the bridge, getting out of their cars and getting underneath the bridge up in the girders. And we know now that people have been killed doing that because you're exposing yourself to the elements. The winds are actually higher as you get up higher where that bridge, where the girders are in the bridge. And you can't hold on if you are hit directly by the tornado. In most of the cases where people survived by climbing up underneath the girder, it was because they weren't directly hit by the tornado. And in fact, he was not directly hit by the tornado in this case.
Right.
Now, once he came out, you could see here that there's this cone shape. It's not quite a wedge tornado, but it's a large cone shape. They were pretty close to it. You see how it's also very diffuse. It's really difficult. We'll see that again in a moment. Really difficult to sort of pick out where the tornado is. And that's why we tell you that we don't want you to go outside and try to figure out where it is. I mean, there's a tornado that the edge of the tornado is actually hitting them at that point. And, you know, it's not some big black wall, but rather it's this sort of amorphous area of dust and debris. And you see a bit of a circulation there. And then when he rides out, when he comes out from underneath that bridge, you'll see that cone shape. He's going to do it right now, right as it's passed. He's coming out behind it. There's that cone shape, and you see along the bottom there, that darker color, that's what's called the dust envelope. So that's all the dust that's being carried around by the tornado. So tornadoes generally have a couple of elements. One is cloud. The darker part on the top is cloud. That's condensation that is being created by the low pressure within the vortex. And then along the bottom there, you're seeing all the dust and debris that's being carried by that storm. But again, going back to this, you look at this, this is very amorphous and difficult to see, which is why we tell you, don't go outside and try to figure out if a tornado is coming. It might be, and you may not have any idea.
Absolutely. And Carly, I understand we have some new video coming in from additional storm chasers on that same tornado in Sand Springs, which, by the way, we know was a devastating tornado. It destroyed or damaged at least 40 mobile homes. One person is dead as a result. And here we have a different perspective.
Yeah, this is the same storm, and again, it's difficult to pick out. There could be some rain getting involved there.
It is hard to see.
It's hard to see, absolutely, but that was the storm that caused major problems there west of Tulsa. Much more on this coming up.
Anyone have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating?
Yes.
One Phillips Colon Health probiotic cap each day helps defend against these occasional digestive issues with 3 types of good bacteria. Live the regular life. Phillips.
All we need to sell Strongbow Hard Cider is ice. And an award for best tasting hard cider.
Have you got the shot yet?
Remember that thing about keeping your face behind the award? Strongbow.
Introducing new Flonase Allergy Relief Nasal Spray. This changes everything. New Flonase outperforms the #1 allergy pill, so you will inhale life. When we breathe in allergens, our bodies react by overproducing 6 key inflammatory substances that cause our symptoms. The leading allergy pill only controls 1. Flonase controls 6, and 6 is greater than 1. So roll down your windows, hug your pet, dust off some memories, make new ones. New Flonase. 6 is greater than 1. This changes everything.
For most people, earning cash back ends here at the purchase. But the City Double Cash Card doesn't end there. It lets you earn cash back when you buy and again as you pay. That's cash back twice. It's cash back with a side of cash back. The City Double Cash Card, the only card that lets you earn cash back twice on every purchase, with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. With 2 ways to earn, it makes a lot of other cards seem one-sided.
Going to the paint studio at Ace is like going to your neighbor. And hurry in this Wednesday through Sunday for buy 1 gallon, get 1 free. Save up to $71 when you buy 2 gallons, exclusively at Ace.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The Fiat 500 isn't alone anymore. It's part of a big Italian family.
Sundays. One man's trash. This is perfect. Is another man's wood-powered Jeep gasifier. Brainstormers. Sundays at 9. Only on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. We're continuing to break into our original programming to bring you the severe weather threat, also the aftermath of the severe weather from tonight in Oklahoma. The threat has now diminished. It has shifted eastward into Missouri. Nonetheless, a devastating night for thousands of people in central Oklahoma, where we know there were more than 100 severe weather reports, reported tornadoes, and certainly extensive damage. 1 person lost their life, and we are looking at a lot in terms of recovery in some of these hard-hit areas, which, by the way, bringing in Carl Parker now, were areas that have been hit, like Moore, Oklahoma, as recent as 2013.
Yeah, by a terrible tornado at the time, and you know, that's the storm that hit a school and caused a lot of damage there. And EF5, that's exactly right. And after that, a number of people applied for grants to get storm shelters in their homes, because they are very expensive. They can be $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000, and so they had, I believe, sort of a lottery system to get storm shelters in their homes. And you know, I'm sure that a lot of those people are really happy to have them now when they've gotten another tornado in the exact same spot. Here it is. It's only been a couple of years, and we're looking at possibly in EF2, maybe even more than that. And we want to take a look at what is called the Enhanced Fujita Scale. We had the Fujita Scale for many years that was used to rate tornadoes. This is something that is done after the fact, so you can't look at a tornado and say, this is that. There are very big tornadoes that are weak. There are very small tornadoes that are very strong. So this is something that is done after the fact, using all these what are called damage indicators. So in the case of EF0, that's winds of 65 to 85 miles per hour. That's going to peel the surface off of some roofs, damage to gutters and siding, break tree branches, and shallow rooted trees are pushed over. Now, let's take a look at EF1. So we're coming up now to 86 to 110 miles per hour. At this point, you've got roofs severely stripped, mobile homes overturned or badly damaged, loss of exterior doors and windows broken. Now, there's an important point there. You're talking about the same amount of wind causing problems with roofs of homes, but not causing structural failure until you start talking about mobile homes. So obviously there's a really big difference in terms of what each type of structure can sustain. And Julie, we've got video from Sand Springs of unfortunately what happened there tonight.
We know it's at least an EF1 in Sand Springs where at least 40 of those homes were damaged, mobile homes.
Exactly right.
And there's a video of that tornado that we've been
This is the
watching.
tornado in Sand Springs. This is from the chaser who took shelter underneath a bridge, and we've talked about that. Not a good idea, but he was along the edge of that tornado. But this was a mean tornado, and he comes out from underneath this bridge here, and you get a really good look at this the rather largish cone-shaped tornado and a big area of debris along with that. You're going to see right now he's going to drive out after the edge of that tornado passes by, and as he drives out, he's going to turn his camera to the left, and there in fact is that tornado. That big dark shape there is the cloud, and then you've got the dust envelope off to the bottom. But I believe we've got video also of what that tornado did to a mobile home park in Sand Springs. And here it is, Julie. And so obviously you're right. We're talking about most likely at least EF1 damage here.
That's the River Oaks Mobile Home Park. We're told at least 40 homes were either damaged or destroyed there. One person lost their life as well. And yeah, you're absolutely right. At least EF1. A lot of times, you know, we really tend to look for more of like the brick structures and the heavier structures, the uprooted trees. And we've actually seen some of that this evening as well in Moore, Oklahoma. And we're talking about a higher EF scale level.
Exactly right. So we want to tell you about EF2 right now and what that is. So at this point, you've got winds of 111 to 135 miles per hour, roofs completely torn off of well-constructed homes, foundations of frame homes shifted, mobile homes gone, completely gone, destroyed, and large trees uprooted. So let's see what happened in Moore, Oklahoma, and see if we see something like that. We're going to take a look at the video once again. We'll get into EF3 here in a moment. There's a look at the power flashes that we saw in Moore, Oklahoma, but we also saw some damage from Moore, Oklahoma that we want to take a look at. And what we saw with this tornado that didn't last very long, it only went on for about 11 minutes. What we saw, and we have some footage from Jazz Bishop that we want to show, guys, and what we saw there were homes that had their roofs removed. And so just by looking at that, we can say, well, that looks like it's most likely EF2 damage. And in fact, the storm chaser who shot that video, Jazz Bishop, said that he thought it was indeed EF2 damage.
He even indicated it could be a low-end EF3. Right. It's going to be up to the National Weather Service assessment team to get out there and survey the area. You know, our own Dr. Greg Forbes is often part of those assessment teams. I've been out with him, and it is a very specific science that they look at every detail, and they really take their time with these indicators, as well as figuring out the exact path and the width of the tornadoes themselves so that they can study them in the future.
Yeah, there are a lot of damage indicators, and they actually consider how well a structure is made. You know, for example, you've got a concrete structure that may not be similar to another concrete structure depending on whether or not it's got reinforced iron inside of it, and that can make a really big difference. So they look at the details like that to determine what kind of force would be required to tear certain structures up.
Yeah, I can recall a factory that was damaged in the Adairsville tornado, and Dr. Forbes was out there, but you know, it was a little bit deceiving because, as you mentioned, those really heavy rebars, they were not really anchored in the ground.
Yeah.
But it looked like a total loss of an entire factory.
Right.
So again, there's really a science to all of this, and it's going to take some time to figure out. But the bottom line is we know of extensive damage in both Moore and west of Tulsa this evening.
We are thinking about EF2 and again, maybe even EF3. And let's take a look at what EF3 is. That's winds of 136 to 165 miles per hour. Entire stories of well-constructed homes destroyed, trains overturned, and trees debarked. at that level. Then once you get up to EF4, this is when you see whole frame houses leveled right down to the slab, cars thrown in the air. We did see a car flip, by the way, in Moore tonight. Small missiles generated, and then at EF5, you're talking about total devastation. Strong frame houses swept away. That's what we saw in Moore, Oklahoma in 2013 and also in 1999. Much more on the severe weather coming up.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by Duracell, trusted to outlast the storm.
I've seen hurricanes, floods, I've seen tornadoes. We give out Duracell batteries after the worst happens. And when the power's out for days, we stay with them. You might say they lost everything, but that's not what I see. I see a different kind of power. I saw it in Ruth, Adam, Tom. It's the power they have inside of them. The power to move forward.
At Duracell, we believe that's the power that never, ever goes out.
Currently in our area, 76 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 72. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, partly cloudy with an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. High 85. Chance of rain 40%. Thursday night, thunderstorms early, low 73. Chance of rain 50%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
According to the U.S. Department of Energy, most homes have air leaks and drafts that waste so much energy, it's like leaving a window open in your home all year long. Don't let another year go by. Call Champion Windows at 844-4-CHAMPION. And right now, when you buy 2 rooms of windows, you get the 3rd room free. Plus, Champion now offers no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. So call 844-4-CHAMPION today. Because every home needs a champion.
The termite swarm has come. Enter the legions of Terminix with 85 years of experience and the strongest guarantee in the business. Sorry, termites, we got our swarm of our own. Not here, not now, not in my house. Terminix.
In one moment, I felt it. I'm ready to lose weight, and I want to start now.
Well, you can count, track, and worry over every meal, or you can lose weight simply with Jenny Craig. Bam! 50 pounds gone. Wow. Ouch. First, meet your dedicated personal consultant who will help you reach your goals. Then, take home delicious food and start losing now.
Visit JennyCraig.com for our best offer ever.
A moment can change your whole life.
You're not Mr. Craig.
Yeah, I'm confused. Where's Mr. Craig?
Well, I'm sort of Mr. Craig. We're both between 35 and 45 years old. We both like to save money on car insurance, and we're both really good at teaching people a lesson.
Okay, let's go.
Cool. Sit down.
All right.
Sorta You isn't you. Only Esurance has coverage my way. It helps make sure you only pay for what's right for you, not someone sorta like you.
I think I blacked out from fear. Did we ask him where Mr. Craig was?
We did.
Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
It's time to elevate your expectations of what luxury waterfront living can be. Water Club North Palm Beach. In the heart of everything you love about the Palm Beaches. Unmatched views in every direction. Unrivaled amenities. Private club living on the water's edge. Water Club North Palm Beach, presented by Coulter. Visit our sales gallery just south of PGA Boulevard on US 1.
Order now.
We have new video into the Weather Channel from KFOR. This is out of Moore, Oklahoma, where we are looking at now complete darkness. A lot of power outages there after a tornado, it appears, has brought down power poles. We saw numerous power flashes over large, widespread area of Moore earlier this evening. Right there, we're looking at the damage, which appears to be quite extensive. We did hear from our storm chaser, Jazz Bishop, who rode out the storm in Moore. He shot some video earlier this evening as well of neighborhoods with homes, brick homes even, with the entire roofs lift off. There you see some damage to a gas station, complete darkness, as I mentioned. So obviously a lot of down power lines and danger there in the streets as people are out and milling about. This is at 119th and Western, again, from our affiliate KFOR. Another image of this damage reported across Moore, Oklahoma from earlier this evening as well. There you see the heavy rain pouring down, flash flooding becoming an issue as well. But really the damage here, structural damage, appears to be anywhere from, say, EF2 to maybe a low-end EF3 status as of this point. That'll be up to the National Weather Service to figure out once their assessment teams are out and about. But we do know of quite a bit of damage in this area. We talked with Oklahoma Emergency Management earlier this evening. They say it's going to take a while to fully assess the extent of the damage in Moore, Oklahoma. And this is really just one of the hard-hit areas from this evening. More than 149 severe weather reports, majority of them across the state of Oklahoma. This one in Sand Springs, destroying of a mobile home park. Now, this is the River Oaks Mobile Home Park in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. We do know that 40 or more mobile homes were damaged or destroyed in this apparent tornado. And we also know that one person did lose their lives in this same area. We had some incredible video of a cone-shaped tornado coming out of that area, Sand Springs, Oklahoma, from one of our storm chasers. We did have that on earlier. We brought it to you live here on the Weather Channel. This was one of those tornadoes that was quite difficult to see until it was right upon you. In fact, one of our storm chasers did have to take cover underneath a bridge, and he, a trained storm spotter nonetheless, so he said it did come very quickly and it was very difficult to see. There you can see the outline of it in the distance. This is just west of Tulsa. Again, Sand Springs, Oklahoma, hit very hard by an apparent tornado earlier this evening. And right now, it is still unclear the full extent of the damage across central Oklahoma. We do know that Moore public schools are out for tomorrow. No school in Moore. Obviously, the power outage situation is vast. We know of at least 80,000 customers without power at this hour as of last check with emergency managers across the state of Oklahoma. Again, 149 severe weather reports. We have preliminary reports of at least 5 tornadoes. All of this taking place earlier this evening, right around dinner time or shortly after. And what's interesting about the Moore, Oklahoma tornado is this is an area that was obviously hit very hard back in 2013, where 24 people lost their lives in an EF5 tornado. Take a look at some of these storm reports. All of the blue dots you see there from Oklahoma City up to Wichita, certainly out across central Oklahoma, Tulsa, just west of Tulsa there, Sand Springs. 167 of these reports, we're talking about flash flood. 119 hail reports, and you know, hail was a large component of this severe weather event. We had reports of anywhere from 2-inch to even baseball-sized hail falling across Oklahoma this evening. Our own Mike Seidel experienced some golf ball-sized hail in Oklahoma City. And by the way, where he was stationed, we saw the video literally go from daylight to black, all within the matter of about 20 minutes before the sun went down. So that was how quickly conditions changed there for him. I also should mention the temperature contrast has changed dramatically now that these storms have pushed through this area. The storm threat has now shifted well east of here, and temperatures have dropped a good 30 degrees, and it's very windy out there this evening as well. So that's going to make cleanup all the more difficult. But certainly a very active system. Look at all of the lightning here still showing up on live radar. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect at this hour, and a lot of those are going to extend into into the overnight hours as well, so a very dangerous time. Keep in mind, we don't need to just have tornado warnings here. These straight line winds from these severe thunderstorms can cause significant damage. Fort Smith, you are in the bullseye right now with a severe thunderstorm warning as well. Our own Carl Parker is tracking these storms. When we come back, he has the very latest.
Hey, pal. You ready? Can you pick me up at 6:30?
I'm here.
Too late.
I'll go for 5 minutes. Move it. Killing me. You know what, Dad? I'm good.
It may be quite a while before he's ready, but our Subaru Legacy will be waiting for him.
The longest-lasting midsize sedan in its class, the 2015 Subaru Legacy. It's not just a sedan, it's a Subaru.
Incredible. I've been Claritin clear for 10 days.
When your allergy symptoms start, doctors recommend taking 1 Claritin every day of your allergy season for continuous relief.
With powerful 24-hour non-drowsy Claritin, live Claritin clear. Every day.
Does your computer run slow?
Come on.
Or just freeze and crash?
No.
Does it take forever to start up?
Still waiting.
You need the amazing Win Cleaner, the easiest way to get all that hidden junk off your computer. Simply plug in our unique USB, and with just 1 click, Win Cleaner starts working automatically. It sorts through your hard drive, eliminating useless files and programs. Within minutes, that slow computer is running like new. Look, the competition is $50, and look at all those no's. Win Cleaner is just $19.99, and look at all those yeses. Look, over time, everyone's computer's memory fills with junk, cookies, even viruses. But Win Cleaner instantly starts to clean and repair your PC with just 1 click, optimizing performance and protecting you from future problems. You get super fast startups, speedy downloads, blazing fast gaming, and a much quicker internet experience. It's got the editor's rating of 5 stars from CNET and rave reviews from PC Answers. So don't buy a new computer, don't pay expensive technicians, and don't buy downloads with hidden charges. Get your own Win Cleaner USB drive for just $19.99. But wait! Order in the next 5 minutes and you won't pay a penny for shipping. That's right, shipping is on us. It gets better. If you call right now, you can double your order. 1 for home and 1 for work. That's 2 Win Cleaner USB drives and free shipping. Join the millions of customers who have used the Win Cleaner on their PCs.
Call 1-800-259-0846 to get your Win Cleaner on this special TV offer. It's not sold in stores, so call now or go to wincleaner.com. So call 1-800-259-0846. That's 1-800-259-0846. Love your PC again with Win Cleaner. Call now.
I've got a to-do list and 5 acres of fresh air.
Top 3 tools: hammer, screwdriver, front loader.
Happiness is a drive over mower deck.
A John Deere dealer can teach tractors to anybody.
In the right hands, an iMatch Quick Hitch could probably cure most of the world's problems.
That's how we run, and nothing runs like a Deere. See your John Deere dealer for great Deere season savings on the One Family subcompact tractors.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. We're continuing to interrupt our regular programming to bring you the latest on a severe weather outbreak impacting central Oklahoma and has now shifted into Missouri, though the severe threat is diminishing at this hour. Extensive damage reported out of Moore, Oklahoma, which was just 2 years ago devastated by an EF5 tornado where more than 20 people were killed. Well, this same city hit again this evening by an apparent tornado. This video coming from storm chaser Jazz Bishop, who was riding around this neighborhood and is just showing us some incredible pictures of homes damaged, entire roofs lifted off of brick structures, widespread damage and power outages in the Moore, Oklahoma area. We have not heard of any loss of life, fortunately, there. However, we have heard of at least 1 person dying in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, which is west of Tulsa. A mobile home community hit very hard there with at least 40 homes damaged or destroyed. But there you have some video from KFOR of just utter blackness at this hour in Moore, Oklahoma. A lot of traffic lights out, a lot of damage and debris, and a lot of cleanup to be done there in the area. That storm threat has now shifted eastward and diminished, as I've mentioned, as now the atmosphere is starting to stabilize a bit. I want to turn it over now to Carl Parker, who is tracking the very latest on these storms and where they're going next.
Yeah, you know, and looking at those dark streets there reminds me of this issue of what to do with power poles and whether or not you could put them underground so you wouldn't have to deal with this. You know, we had huge power outages in the Northeast after Hurricane Sandy, and there was a lot of discussion of this, and the problem with that is that it costs about $1 million per mile.
Right.
It's unbelievably expensive to bury the power lines, and so that's why we live with this, you know, periodic issue
More
of
common
being
in
without
Europe,
power.
where it's done more often.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that. Oh, very interesting. Well, they seem to do a lot of things better over there. All right, so let's take a look at the thunderstorm forecast for tonight, and there you see the area of severe weather. Now, I will tell you that the tornado threat is considerably lower as compared to earlier today. Now, that is typically going to be the case. Generally, you're going to get most of your tornadoes right around 6 o'clock. That's sort of the statistical peak, and so obviously on either side of that time, going from late afternoon until early evening, that's when most of the tornadoes are going to occur. It is possible to get them late at night or overnight, but that really depends on having a very dynamic atmosphere, which we don't really have as much of in this case. We have sort of a modest upper level disturbance. We did see quite a contrast in temperatures. Temperatures have been in the 80s there across parts of the southern plains, but look at the cold air that's now dropping down into Oklahoma. It's 52 now in Oklahoma City. The winds are over 30 miles per hour, gusting to nearly 50 miles per hour, and so obviously the severe threat is completely over with there. Those strong thunderstorms are riding along what is called the dry line. So you've got cold front right through here, and then right there, that's called the dry line. So this is an area where you've got colder air coming from the north, just like that. You've got warm air coming from the south up and into your system, and then you've got drier air coming out of West Texas and the southwest. And the dry line is often the focal point for severe storm development, especially there in the southern plains. It's just as good as a cold front for firing up storms. It's a lifting mechanism. There's a difference in the density of the air between dry and more humid air, and that is enough to get these thunderstorms going. So there's a look at the watches that are now in effect. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. We've got one that's going until 3 o'clock in the morning across central parts of Arkansas, one expiring at 10 p.m. in southeast Oklahoma. We'll see if there's going to be an extension on that, and then another one in the Ohio Valley going until 3 o'clock in the morning. Huge area of ongoing thunderstorms right now with a lot of lightning, and there are some warnings to tell you about. A lot of flash flood warnings. You see that showing up in the green there. In the Tulsa area, where we had a few tornadoes tonight, east and west of town, there is lingering heavy rain, especially south of town. So this is what we call training, and the term comes from the idea of there being box cars in a train that run one past another and go on for a very long time. So you've got these individual cells that are moving off towards the east, but you notice that the axis is not changing very much at all. They're running one past another like boxcars in a train, and we are now getting rainfall that's on the order of a few inches. That yellow color there corresponding to more than a few inches of rain. There's the 6-hour rainfall. Look at that. Getting up into those orange and red colors, talking about 4 to 5 inches of rain there west of Tulsa. Thankfully, it is over now north and west of Tulsa. But you've got ongoing rain here south of town, where we've had widespread 3 inches of 3-inch amounts, I should say, within the last 6 hours. So continues to come down in a lot of spots. That's going to be one of the big threats tonight. We've got some additional severe thunderstorm warnings to tell you about. Cole, Johnston, Pontotoc counties there, southeast Oklahoma. These little line segments are mostly going to be wind and hail producers, which is not to say that we couldn't get a tornado out of them, but the threat is considerably lower as compared to earlier today. And then notice here this sort of a backward C shape, just like that. That little line segment there is going to be producing wind, and the strongest of the wind is going to be right at the apex of that backward C shape. So that's where the wind is going to be coming in right now into Atoka. And in fact, looking at the velocity data here, we are seeing some very strong winds that are driving with that little line segment there. There you see on the left some of the video from Tulsa earlier today. Rescue crews out and about. Search and rescue was ongoing for a while this evening. We're not sure if that is wound down or not, but obviously some pretty significant damage. Now up into Fort Smith, Crawford, Franklin, Sebastian counties under severe thunderstorm warning. That going until 10:45. And these cells are generally moving east at about 30 to 40 miles per hour, then off to the north and east of that. Another severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about in northern parts of Arkansas. And then up here into Cape Girardeau and southeastern parts of Missouri. No more warnings here, at least not right now. But boy, is there a lot of very heavy rain. The rain is really coming down. You notice there is a newer flash flood warning not very far away from Cape Girardeau. Also a severe thunderstorm warning in Evansville, Kentucky, right along the Ohio River Valley. That's for Henderson, Vanderburgh, and Warwick County. So this is the type of thing that we're going to see over the next few hours. It's going to be little periods of some wind and some hail with these thunderstorms that are coming in. Not the very worst of storms, but it will get a little hairy for a time being. And then again, you're going to see this ongoing heavy rain where the cells are running one past another, just like cars on a train track. And so there's the severe threat again for tonight, and that extends through the middle Mississippi Valley and the southern plains. Then tomorrow, got a very broad area of potential thunderstorms. Probably not much in the way of organized severe weather, but if we do see any, it's most likely going to be right there, anywhere from D.C. into Virginia and into North Carolina. There will be some stronger winds coming up from the south, and that's going to help to fuel potentially some wind-producing storms in those areas. But otherwise, just general thunderstorms and a real sign of the times here across a good part of the south. A lot of storm reports from the Central Plains. Most of them were hail reports, but some tornado reports as well. 170 reports of severe weather, and 119 of those were hail reports. So the vast majority of what we saw was large hail, but again, some tornadoes and some damaging wind. We're going to continue our coverage of severe weather coming up here in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road. Make sure the tires she's riding on will. With the revolutionary Michelin Premier tire, even as it wears down over time, its safety doesn't, thanks to Evergrip technology. The Michelin Premier tire, safe when new, safe when worn.
This is the equivalent of the sugar in one regular can of soda. And this is a soda a day for a year. Over an average adult lifetime, that's 221,314 cubes of sugar. But you can help change that with a simple choice. Drink more water. Filtered by Brita.
And introducing our new advanced filter, now better than ever.
良質熟練の技革新1000年の歴史を持つ文化が最先端の製造技術を使うと待てよあれこれってクライスラー
Reliability is now an American thing. Introducing the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. Find it at Chrysler.com.
The wizarding world of Harry Potter, now with Diagon Alley and the Hogwarts Express. Come and live it. Universal Orlando Resort.
All we need to sell Strongbow Hard Cider is ice. And an award for best tasting hard cider.
Have you got the shot yet?
Remember that thing about keeping your face behind the award? Strongbow.
True Green presents The Yardleys.
Hello? Oh, the pizza's here. Hey, come on in.
Right.
Whoa! Lose the sneakers, pal. Kind of a thing.
It is. Spring is on. Start your True Green lawn plan today. True Green. Live life outside.
Going to the paint studio at Ace is like going to your neighbor. And hurry in this Wednesday through Sunday for buy 1 gallon, get 1 free. Save up to $71 when you buy 2 gallons, exclusively at Ace.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
When you're hungry for the craveable taste of tender fish and shrimp, nothing's better than Long John Silver's. Now, for a limited time, enjoy our new crispy golden fish and shrimp basket for just $3.99 at Long John Silver's.
Who knew weight loss with
Hydroxycut was this tasty.
Hydroxycut, America's #1 weight loss brand.
Instantly add weight loss power to your water. Try new Hydroxycut drops.
I don't know what I should do next.
Do what everybody else does. Start a business. Build yourself a website.
Welcome to T.O.'s Humble Pie.
With Wix.com,
Let's party!
we make it easy to create your own all-pro website. All by yourself.
Farve and carve.
You did that yourself?
Don't look so surprised.
Go to Wix.com, create your website today.
It's gonna go fast. Hold on.
You just never know what's gonna happen.
Holy this is cold.
We know you can't control the weather, so we build things to harness it.
Woo! That was a good one.
That's amazing, straight above our heads. That's just incredible.
Man, how do we do that? This is where I want to be right now.
Welcome back to the weather of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we have seen extensive damage from severe weather tonight. 170 reports of severe weather, most of them in central Oklahoma, where we also have preliminary reports of at least 8 tornadoes now by the National Weather Service. The damage is wide and is extensive in West Tulsa. This appears to be a warehouse building that was destroyed. This is right across the river from Tulsa there in West Tulsa. We also know of a mobile home community being destroyed. This in a different area in Oklahoma. This is Sand Springs, which is off to the west of that location. This is the mobile home park where we know at least 40 homes were either damaged or destroyed by an apparent tornado. River Oaks Mobile Home Community. Also, one person here sadly lost their life earlier this evening as that storm came through. We heard from residents there describing utter chaos, by the way, and quite a scene as that storm did come through. The storm chasers who captured that tornado on video had to take shelter under this bridge near Tulsa. Again, this is west of Tulsa near Sand Springs. And here you see the car start to rock, and eventually you start to see the outline of a cone-shaped tornado coming through this area. Carl and I have been talking a lot about this video this evening. Obviously not a safe place to be under the bridge, but this tornado was difficult to see, and even trained storm spotters really needed to take cover quickly here.
Yeah, you know, and it really depends on what you're looking to get away from. I mean, if you're in the middle of a tremendous hailstorm, then a bridge is not a bad place to be. If you are in your car the way that they were, you know, I don't know that it's any worse than any other place. But the one thing that you do not want to do is you do not want to get out of your car and climb up into the sort of crevice there in the bridge. That was something that became popularized with a video going all the way back to 1991 when on camera someone said get up under the girders, and people did that, and then they survived the tornado. We saw this tremendous video of really the edge of a tornado, which is exactly what's happening in this case, coming by. But what we've learned since then, there have been fatalities in the cases where people got up and underneath these bridges because they can't hold on, because the space is too big, and because the wind gets stronger as you go up. Even with just a little bit of height, in the space of 10 to 20 feet, there can be a really big increase in the wind speed, and it can be enough to suck you out of the bridge. So generally what we say now is it's not recommended that you get out of your car and you try to get into a bridge. You see that they drove out of there, and you're looking at that sort of cone shape. That's the cloud that is formed by the tornado. Then that large darkish area nearer the ground is what we call the dust envelope. That's all the dust and debris that's being kicked up by the tornado. There's a lot of it out there in Oklahoma. It's often very red, so sometimes you'll see a bright white tornado surrounded by a red dust envelope at the bottom. And then here, as we're looking at this part of the tornado, you see that it's even not very well defined at the base. The condensation funnel doesn't reach the ground, and that's a really good case of how it is that you may not see a tornado even if it's right next to you.
It's really difficult to see, especially from this vantage point where they got caught.
Yes.
So we thank them for that video. We're glad they're safe. And we want to take you now to Oklahoma City. That is where our own Mike Seidel had been stationed throughout the day. We saw some dramatic video, though not much damage, come into Oklahoma City in Mike's live shot from when his live shot actually, we saw the sky literally turn black.
I don't know that I've ever seen it get quite that dark. I mean, it was late in the day. It was about a good hour before the sun was going to set, but it really went from reasonably light to completely dark in a space of just a half an hour or so.
Let's listen in now to Mike.
It's been a wild weather day here in Oklahoma City. Late this afternoon, temperatures topped out at 84 degrees, the warmest here in 5 months. Then the skies darkened from the west, and then the storms hit. We went from daylight to darkness. It was like the middle of the night, a full hour before sundown. Take a look at the pictures. Look how dark it is. And we're just a stone's throw from the skyline, and you can barely see it, less than a half a mile away. That's the rain, wind gust over 50 miles an hour, golf ball sized hail. And then when it ended, the sun popped out before sundown. We had a rainbow, and that sun also backlit some incredibly beautiful mammatus clouds. Tonight, a complete change in air mass from 84 now down to around 50, nearly a 35-degree temperature drop. Winds right now are running around 30, gusting over 40 miles an hour, and there's a wind advisory here in central Oklahoma until 4 a.m. in the morning. For Thursday, a much better day. Much more stable, but much colder. Highs only in the low 60s below average. And if you're looking ahead to the weekend, severe threat off the table now for the time being, with weekend highs back in the mid-70s and sunny skies. I'm Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Seidel from Oklahoma City. Back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Up next, we're going to hear from a News Channel 4 reporter out of Oklahoma as she talks to residents who rode out these strong storms.
Hey, buddy, you're squashing me. Liquid wart remover could take weeks to treat.
Embarrassing wart? Dr. Scholl's Freeze Away wipes them out fast with as few as one treatment.
Freeze Away!
Dr. Scholl's, the #1 selling freeze brand.
It tastes better when you grow it. It tastes even better when you share it. It's not hard. It's doable. It's growable. Get going with Growables. Miracle Grow. Life starts here.
I already feel like we're the most connected, but I think the solo date will seal the deal.
Sure, I offer multi-car, safe driver, and so many other discounts that people think I'm a big deal. And boy, are they right. Ladies, I can share hundreds in savings with all of you. Just visit Progressive.com today. But right now, it's choosing time. Ooh, we have a winner.
What? This is pick one of us. This is a joke, right? That's what the point of us being here is.
Introducing new Flonase Allergy Relief Nasal Spray. This changes everything. New Flonase outperforms the #1 allergy pill, so you will inhale life. When we breathe in allergens, our bodies react by overproducing 6 key inflammatory substances that cause our symptoms. The leading allergy Flonase controls 6, and 6 is greater than 1. So roll down your windows, hug your pet, dust off some memories, make new ones. New Flonase. 6 is greater than 1. This changes everything.
Get a new look and the expert tailoring to make it yours. Right now at Men's Warehouse. Select suits are on sale for $179.99. Plus, buy one, get one free on almost everything else in the store. Only at Men's Warehouse.
Sometimes, bigger is better. But other times, bigger just gets in the way. At Brother, we know the biggest printer isn't always the best fit for every office. So we've come up with a bigger idea. Don't supersize, optimize. See how we can help you put the right printers in all the right places and help reduce your costs. Now that's big. Brother, at your side. Learn more at don'tsupersizeoptimize.com.
We're different, in case no one noticed. We store fat more easily than men, but surprisingly, we can burn fat better too. Thermodynamic Total Burn is the ultimate fat burner for women. It amps up your body's natural fat burning capability, switching your metabolism into rapid fat burning mode and making it easier to lose the extra pounds that'll have nowhere to hide this summer. Don't wait to lose weight. Get Total Burn today. It's part of Body Lab by Jennifer Lopez.
But now, let's put this out here.
I'm getting soaked. We're getting a good heavy hit of rain.
We have been shattering records. Look at this sample.
Thanks for watching AMHQ and helping to make us the fastest growing major network on cable. AMHQ on the Weather Channel.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I wasn't.
It makes me happy to go on the computer. I like feeling smart.
Internet Essentials from Comcast has brought low-cost internet access to over 1.4 million low-income people at home.
Internet Essentials help me progress in my schoolwork. It helped my grades move higher.
Today, it's the largest broadband adoption program in America.
It helped me a lot.
Comcast NBC Universal, helping to bridge the digital divide.
Sandals Grand Antigua was incredible.
The pool was as large as the ocean.
And the beach was perfect.
We're still raving about the service.
He loved the diving. He always wanted to try it.
Our suite was so exotic, it even had a pool.
We dined at 9 restaurants.
All included, just like everything else.
But what I remember most was falling in love all over again. Sandals Grand Antigua. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Order now.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. Taking a look now at video from earlier this evening out of Moore, Oklahoma. Numerous power flashes there, and we do know that across the state of Oklahoma, at last check, as many as 80,000 customers without power after a strong line of storms came through the area. We also know of at least 8 preliminary tornadoes. Moore hit especially hard. That's one of the hard-hit areas. We do want to check in now with the 10 o'clock news, Channel 4's 10 o'clock news reporter Adam Schneider, who was on the ground in Moore and spoke with residents there.
Standing away from a light pole that has been moving in the wind and seems to be toppling over really at any moment at this point. But it seems to me that the real endearing image that everybody's been focusing on, I tweeted out a picture earlier, is a picture of this power pole right here that has been, if Derek can get in on it, that's been severed literally in half again and hanging. It is only hanging by the power cords out here at 119th and Western again and more. But Leslie Angel was trying to say earlier, I understand we had some mic issues, but that the road is blocked off at this point. They aren't allowing any more traffic. There are several police units on scene and OG&E trucks as well, trying to get to the bottom of the damage from where we stand right now, but we aren't going anywhere. I actually spoke just moments ago with 2 little kids that were running by. They were running on their way up to a Burger King, which is just down the road here on 119th, and they said that their parents own the Burger King and all of the windows were busted out in it. So once again, several businesses out here have been affected. We will be out here for the foreseeable future, of course. Reporting live in Moore, Adam Schneider, News Channel 4.
And that was Channel 4's Adam Schneider. We thank him for that. By the way, Moore schools are closed tomorrow, so no school in Moore, Oklahoma. Moore, Oklahoma, no stranger to tornado damage. In fact, in 2013, an EF5 came through this area, killed 24 people. And you're looking now at some damage from a neighborhood. This video coming from storm chaser Jazz Bishop. He tells us that this was basically that same area that was hit back in 2013 as well. You notice here extensive damage to homes. In fact, entire roofs lifted off of homes in this particular neighborhood. And obviously that indicates a decent tornado in terms of strength. And I know, Carl, you're taking a closer look at the requirements and the rating scale. Yeah. And there's a lot involved there with the indicators. And in this case, it would appear to be maybe an EF2 tornado, maybe even a little stronger.
I think at least, yeah, and maybe a little stronger, as you mentioned. You know, it's interesting because looking at this video and looking at the neighborhood there, I remember seeing a very similar looking street. I don't know that it was the same one, but a very similar looking street in the video of the Moore, Oklahoma tornado of 2013.
And he said he believed that this crisscrossed the same area. We'll have to wait for the National Weather Service assessment to find out, but that would be really interesting to compare.
Yeah, it could very well be that, you know, there just happened to be a lot of homes that look really similar in that neighborhood. They were built at the same time by the same builder. older.
True.
But it certainly does look very, very familiar, and just amazing to think that you get hit so often in that one spot. I mean, you know, this is, you know, you get more tornadoes in the middle of America than you do anywhere else in the world. And then within that, you've got tornado alleys, and one of those alleys just happens to be south of Oklahoma City. That's one of the more prolific spots for tornadoes.
The mini alleys.
Exactly.
Well, we hope that a lot of folks did get storm shelters after that last tornado, and certainly we haven't heard of any reports of deaths here in Moore this evening. So that's some good news.
There was heightened awareness about storm shelters. There was a lottery in the state to get storm shelters. They are very expensive, but a lot of people certainly did make the effort to do that. Now, we want to talk a little bit about the enhanced Fujita scale. This is the new version of the Fujita scale. It's not brand new, but it's certainly newer relative to what we had for many, many decades. And there's a look at the EF0 rating. At this point, you've got winds of 65 to 85 miles per hour, and that peels the surface off of some roofs. There's some damage to gutters or siding, broken tree branches, shallow-rooted trees are pushed over. So that's sort of minimal damage. Then when you get to EF1, you're getting up to 86 to 110 miles per hour. At this point, you see roofs severely stripped and mobile homes overturned or badly damaged. So obviously mobile homes don't fare anywhere near as well as regular homes do. A loss of exterior doors and windows broken. So now let's take a look at the damage from west of Tulsa. This is in Sand Springs, Julie, and pretty clearly looks like we're up to EF1 at least here.
Yeah, at least 40 mobile homes there damaged or destroyed, and this is where we did have a report of a fatality as well. So certainly, yeah, indicative of at least EF1.
Absolutely. And so then we want to take a look at EF2 damage. That's getting up to 111 to 135 miles per hour. At this point, you see roofs torn off, well-constructed homes, foundations shifting, mobile homes destroyed, and large trees uprooted. So now let's go back to that video from Jazz Bishop, Moore, Oklahoma. And here we do see that there are some roofs, at least partially, if not completely torn off. So it's probably safe to say that we're getting into EF2 territory here. And in fact, Jazz Bishop said he thought it could be high-end EF2 and maybe even EF3. It looks like most of the roof is gone in that particular case right there.
And there was a brick home I saw there where the entire roof, it looked like, had been lifted.
Yeah,
as well,
so that would absolutely be EF2 damage. You get up to EF3, you're talking about entire stories of well-constructed homes destroyed, trains overturned, and trees debarked. Then at EF4, whole frame houses leveled, cars thrown in the air. We did, by the way, see some cars flipped along the interstate there, Interstate 35 and more. And then EF5, strong frame houses swept away, 200-mile-per-hour wind, and severe structural deformation. This is exactly what we saw in Moore, Oklahoma in 2013 and also in 1999. So what a tornado history they've had there in Moore.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've been in those towns like Greensburg, Kansas that were leveled by an EF5 tornado, and it is unrecognizable at that point. So we're fortunate that this evening we did not see that kind of damage. However, the damage we have seen is quite extensive across Oklahoma.
Yeah, and you know, the one thing that you hear about from people who survive these tornadoes is that they'll suddenly not realize where they are.
Right.
Because all the landmarks are gone. All the
street
trees
signs
are
are gone.
The street signs are gone. All the buildings are gone.
It's very surreal.
It really is, yeah. And again, we get the worst tornadoes in the world there in the middle of the United States of America.
All right, we're going to return now to national programming, but we do want to let you know Ray Stajic will be up next in about 60 seconds with a live update on where these storms are now moving. So we're going to keep you out ahead of this all throughout the night.
An Airbus 330 enters thunderstorms more than 6 miles above the Atlantic, then vanishes into the night.
Did it all start with a lightning strike?
A Boeing 737 shatters as it slams down short of the runway.
We were hanging in the air and then we dropped.
G-forces tear at an out-of-control Boeing 747, nosediving toward the Pacific.
Everybody's face was just kind of pulled back. There's no way we're going to survive this.
When pilots are too reliant on automation, the results can be catastrophic.
We have lost an aircraft with 228 people on board.
True-to-life animations reveal the critical moments that lead to disaster. flying through turbulent weather, Air France Flight.
Welcome back here to the Weather Channel. Continuing coverage of severe weather as we head through now the midnight hour Eastern time, 11 o'clock Central. With severe weather, numerous reports out of Oklahoma, reports of tornadoes and red, wind and hail here showing up in the areas in blue. And it is continuing here this morning as we are looking at not just severe thunderstorms, but now starting to see a flash flood threat too, with some flash flooding going on. Reports around Tulsa of tornadoes, possible tornadoes east of Tulsa, and now showing up in northern parts of Arkansas, at least reported tornadoes. We'll see what the assessment's going to be, and they will get a rating on them as the National Weather Service heads on out to assess the damage. Little Rock, severe thunderstorm watch. Dyersburg, and now even into western Kentucky, severe thunderstorm watch, meaning that the potential for severe weather exists in and around the watch area. These areas will be seeing severe weather as we go through the morning with rich tropical moisture coming up from the south. The front, kind of the triggering mechanism, along with this dry line painted in here in yellow. All this moisture and instability moving on off toward the east. We'll have wind, we'll have heavy rainfall, the potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. But right now with these storms, none are tornadic, at least not at this point. We've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, and now you can kind of see here in the border of Missouri and Arkansas starting to get flash flooding. Flash flood warnings now posted for the potential for flooding or flooding that may be already occurring. On the far eastern line, we've got Evansville right under the gun here. Severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15 local time. So about 15 minutes ago on that, expect heavy rainfall, plenty of lightning around too, and that heavy rain threat moving north and northeast. That would include the counties of Henderson, Vanderburgh, and Warwick counties until 11:15 local time. Back further toward the west, we get near to Cape Girardeau, heavy rain coming down.